Hello and welcome back to Tech Blocks, in which is the final and delayed by about 6 months installment of the How to Build a To-Do App in Flutter series. This video is going to be a little bit different, as I've figured that most of you will have probably already used the GitHub page to find all the code if you're that interested, or aren't just going to watch this video at all because the viewership has been trailing off massively on the series, understandably so. So instead, in this video, all I'm going to be doing is going through what I would have done in the final episode in the series if I had actually decided to motivate myself in about September or whenever I last uploaded, which was just going through the to-do create page, which is going to be used to create a new to-do item. So here we are on the GitHub page for the project, and I should just make this easier to read at night time. There we go, we've got dark mode and dark mode. Right, so here we are on the main GitHub page for the project. Once again, the link to this will be in the description for you to look at, download, play around with, expand on. One expansion could be adding new types of to-do item to have date pickers to select a deadline, and then also using notifications to push a notification to the user when their deadline is approaching. So today we're going to be looking at the to-do create class, as I mentioned. This, I'm just going to talk through it briefly, as that's going to be the format for this video. So it's using a stateful widget because it needs to be able to respond to the data changes as the user inputs data, and it's passed an add item function from the main.dart file, which we're going to look at in a minute. We've got my little get color method again, well, function technically, but that is literally just to get the priorities and convert them into values that Dart can understand. And then we've got our values that are going to be changed to store the title value, the description value, and the color value, which is a priority for each item that we add. So using a scaffold once more, creating a new item, and I just realized I've done a typo when I made this last year. That should be item, not item. But it's a new widget, new page in the app, and we are using this to set the state, and set state will be called each time the value of the contents of one of these input things is changed, and that means that we can update the data as we go. So we've got a text field to allow the user to input the title of the to-do item. Then we've got another text field which has more lines available, which is used to have the description, and you can add labels to text fields to show what the user should input, and that comes up, if I remember correctly, inside the box, so like the prompts on Google's sign up page where it says username, password, and so on. And it's also priority. So I did this a bit differently because when I was making this I couldn't think of a better way to do it. There may well be a better way of doing it. We've just done this using buttons, and it's just going to allow the user to click on the red button that's coloured red, the amber button that's coloured amber, and the green button that's coloured amber, and then that will assign the colour value when it's pressed once more, changing the data values on the change of state. And then to indicate to the user, ideally what you'd probably want to do is have one of those little border things that comes up around a button and ensure a button stays depressed on the page. However, I was being lazy and didn't know how to do that, so instead I just had a text label called selected priority, and then a sized box which was whatever colour the priority would be, and that worked quite well, and that's just what this bit of code is doing. And then we've got a submit button, which will create a map of the to-do item in the format that we will be needing for our add item function, which is in the main class and main file, and then passing that to add item, which then, as we know through the Flutter pass down throughout the pages and classes in an app, that will pass it back up to the main file by calling the function through the aliases that it's been given. And then we use the .pop function on the navigator class to close this window as we're now finished with it and the data we want to store has been saved. So then in our main to-do class, we need to have the add to-do function, which I believe we added a long time ago, but that's got the same data type as we passed to it with a to-do item, and that just uses the constructor for a to-do item to create it using the parameters that the user has entered, and then uses a set state function once more to respond to that change in data and add the new to-do item to the database. And then they've got the remove one, which basically just does the opposite and deletes it from the database. The final thing we need to do is we need to add a root down here of /add to-do, which returns the new to-do create function, which we just class that we've just looked at, and passes it the add to-do the add to-do function. Sorry, should I say? I'm doing this completely off script, by the way. But the add to-do function, which is then passed down through all the layers until it gets to the call in the save function. And the final thing we may need to do is in the pages on the list page, I think it is, where we have a button. Alright, now a gesture detector, which was used to have a far wider section of the screen allowed to be used as a button. It's passed the /add to-do path, which then goes to the roots, and then that is then used to open to-do create, and that is how opening any new pages in Flutter works. So this app was tested on the version of Flutter from last year. I think that was something like 1.5. I know it is now on a far newer version. It should still work. If not, or if you have any queries, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will respond to it as soon as I can, with hopefully a useful answer. And other than that, the link, as I said, to this code will be in the description. It's essentially this bit up here. And in terms of future videos, there will be future Flutter videos, hopefully with a more consistent schedule. And there will also be videos on Python, I'm thinking, and I'm also going to be branching out to doing videos on Linux and maybe AI towards August, September time. And other than that, stay safe, stay home, protect the NHS, and save lives.